Welcome to Insight Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. When LLM rebels and says no, exploring when large language models can't or won't follow your instructions. The challenge solved. Why LLMs fail to follow instructions? There are a couple of reasons. The model architecture that the large language model that you're using may not be advanced enough. When I say the architecture of the model is not enough, I mean the neural network architecture, which is created using the various libraries like PyTorch and TensorFlow, etc. It may not be trained on the data set that follows your instructions and the output that you are expecting. The limitations, like not having access to file systems and disks, could be one of the main reasons. So the model themselves may not be able to write or access your hard disk or your various other cloud resources directly. The request might involve complex logic, or it might involve lots of variables that the model itself needs to generate, and at the same time follow the instructions. So the model is asked to hallucinate, at the same time it is asked to follow the instructions. So this actually diverges and creates a confusion. It can be due to pure random conditions. So sometimes a model can give you the good output and sometimes it doesn't. It is purely random because the models themselves are working on probability related functions. So the output are not always the same. We'll be seeing the example. What we are going to do is we are going to take the prompt from small.ai developer repo. This particular repo has been claimed to create programs that are working, that can directly compile and give working extensions, websites, etc. So we are going to use this particular repo, look at their prompts, and then try to use that prompt for the problem that we are trying to solve. Okay. The repo suggests to use GPT 3.5. However, I am going to use something different. I'm going to use ChatGPT and Bard web interface and check their performance and see how the output is. And I'm going to compare it with Google Palm API Chat Bison 001. Okay. The intention here is to show the limitation. The intention here is to give some idea how to create challenging situations for the LLMs. You guys must have already come across such situations, and you might start to think that you are missing something, that you have to learn more about prompt engineering, you have to learn more about particular large language model. But the reality is you have to do something totally different. So that's what I'm going to show in the next slide. The reality is you have to start coding. There is no other way. So if you want the large language model to code for you, then you have to first of all know to code. You need to understand how the programming languages work, or else it's going to be difficult for you to guide the large language model to get the code that you want. So, but that's the good news. We are all coding from the beginning in the sense the moment you are born. So there is no escape from it. Whether you are going to solve a physical problem like taking a cup of water and drinking, or whether you are going to code a Python GUI interface that takes the documents and parses it into a report. So whatever the problem it is, we have to follow the set of steps in order to solve the problem, and then convert it into syntax that the particular programming language can execute. This is the simple process of coding. So I'm not going to delve deeper into this particular topic. All I want to convey is that everyone can program, everyone can code. There is no restrictions. It is only that the mindset you have to develop. And once you develop the mindset, you will know what are the steps you will need to solve the problem, and then you can ask the large language model or the artificial intelligence to solve it for you, write the code for you, and then you have to know how to execute the code and how to correct the code. So these are the things that you will need in order for getting the large language model to work for you. And for this particular step, for this particular step of taking the prompt from the developer repo and testing it out, we are going to have a simple problem. So when I say simple problem, it means that it doesn't have a lot of details. Okay, it is logic wise, it's very straightforward, and it will require the model to come up with lots of information by itself. So these are the limitations. This problem is not well formed. So if someone looks at this particular problem statement, they will immediately say, okay, this is generated by someone who doesn't know how to create a problem statement. So, and that is most of us, right? And when the large language model cannot work with such a statement and give an output, so that means that it cannot actually most of the time work, because most of us don't know how to clearly create a problem statement. So that is something that I wanted to share, the limitations of us. We have to understand our limitation first of all before we go and say, okay, something else is not working. So you might be wondering, Kamal, come on, we all know this. It's not something that you have to tell us. The reason why I'm insisting on this particular aspect is that you will see that once we try these things, once we practice all these things, then you will know that the limitations of the large language models and some of the unforeseen or misunderstood fears of artificial intelligence can be mitigated drastically. I believe that you will like this content. Do leave a like, share it with others, because this is a topic that you need to discuss with data. And this particular video is going to give you a lot of data where you can literally show what is happening, and you can tell, okay, this is the output that is coming. And you can and also by yourself you can have some confidence of trying to learn something different and improving your coding or problem solving capability. Do subscribe to my channel. I cover the open source ecosystem around Python and large language models as a whole, and I believe that you will learn a thing or two from me. With that said, let us go to the browser. So I am starting with Bard. Okay, so I've already created a prompt here. So I have told that you are an AI developer who is trying to write a program, and I am telling that first of all only list the file paths. I am not asking it to create any of the. So I am clearly telling that. Just a minute. So I am clearly telling that do not write the code. Okay, I'm telling it to not to write the code, and then from here the requirement starts. This particular requirement is same as the requirement that I have created here. So let me give you a brief about the requirement. Okay, before you go there. So this particular simple example is about a Python program that creates a GUI, graphical user interface, that has text box, buttons, and it accepts items that is purchased and the quantity. In the background, it has to connect with the database, price database, get the items price, calculate the cost, create the invoice, and then close it when the customer or the user closes it. So this is what the program is required. And then I am asking that particular I am taking that particular requirement and I am going to the Bard and I am asking to only list the files. But here you see it has listed the files, but it has gone ahead further and it has started explaining and it has started creating the program itself. Now, I really don't know whether this program is right or wrong. Believe me, I have a little bit of knowledge about GUI programming and I have a good deal of knowledge about Python programming. But in this case, whatever it has done, I don't know whether it's right or wrong. Okay, and also if you see here, there are 3 different outputs already. So this is another one output, and this has a very different way of data, that has a very different way of coding that has come out, and you see it has simply created an invoice which has simple strings in it. So yes, it has given output. Whether we like it or not, we can change it. So, and we can we can work around with this. So if you are looking for a very simple program, and if you want to see whether it is executing, yes, you have already got the answer. This is an example. Okay, now what I want to do is, just give me a moment. Let us contrast that with ChatGPT web interface. Here again, I have done the same thing. Okay, and if you see the output, this is clearly giving me the list of files. It is not doing anything else. It is not giving me the example. It is not writing the code. It has just given me the list of files. This is what I asked, and ChatGPT is able to follow my instructions to the point. So that means Bard is already unable to follow the instruction, right? Even though it has given me the things that I want, it still is unable to follow the instruction, right? So as of now, let us say Bard is unable to follow, and ChatGPT is able to follow. So I take this output and then I go to the next step. So in the next step, what I am doing is I am telling, okay, I am further telling that you are a AI developer and I need this particular app, and I am also telling these are the files that is getting generated, and now write the code inside the file. So this is what I am prompting. Okay, sorry, I am actually telling write the dependencies of each of these files. So first of all, we need to write the dependencies as per the files that is available, and then we need to write the code. So here it actually tells the various dependencies. So here there is only one dependency, the tk-enter GUI library, but in reality that is not the case. So there will be dependency between main file and GUI, database file and GUI, and invoice and GUI. So ChatGPT is not telling about any of these dependencies. The reason is the way I have written this particular application, written this particular requirement. I have not given a lot of details here. Okay, this particular prompt that I provided here is not detailed enough. Let me show you what a detailed prompt looks like. Okay, just give me a moment. A detailed prompt looks like this. So it starts with the problem. It goes on with the various steps the particular program will take with each and every file that is going to be used. So it is given all the information. Each and every step the particular program will go through is explained, and also examples are given. What kind of input and what kind of output is required is also shared. All these things. This is an example prompt I am giving from the repo that I was talking about, the small AI developer repo. This particular repo has a very detailed prompt, and there are a couple of examples also. A couple of others have already taken this particular repo, forked it, and they have worked on improving this and also trying to come up with new applications, and they have succeeded. I have no doubt in that. But the reason why I'm sharing this limitation is that when you are trying it, when you are trying to work with a new problem or a new kind of application, then you must know that each and every step that application is going to follow. And that begs a question. So let us go back to the PDF. That begs the question. So I told you that everyone has to learn coding, or everyone needs to know coding if you want the large language model to write code for you. So this is what I was talking about. So in order to solve a problem, you need to know the steps that is required, and then it can be converted into the syntax. So let us go back to the browser. So what has happening here is that we know the steps that is required, and then the large language model is only converting that steps into the syntax that is required. So basically, instead of a programmer typing the code is typed and given to you, and then you have to relook at the code. So that is what here this particular repo explains, that the human provides the basic prompt, and the main.py generates the code, and human runs and reads the code, and then again the loop continues. So the human is in the loop, and we can continuously prompt it and get the updated code output from the model. And already you saw the limitations, right? What I want to show here is that you guys can actually practice this. So the major point I wanted to highlight here is that in order to write the program or write a code, previously you need to learn the programming language syntax. Now it has still you have to learn the programming language syntax. There is no escape from it, but now you can avoid typing, but there is a huge disadvantage in that. The reason is, if you don't type and if you don't execute it in C, there are a couple of logic you may not be able to understand. So, and when you are new to programming and when you are trying to learn coding, it's more about practicing. When that part is completely removed, and if you are going to directly try to get the code from the large language model and try to put it in production, I'm pretty sure that there is going to be a lot of challenges. Yes, this is a start, but it has a long way to go. So keep this in mind, that if you are seeing any videos and if you are getting information from someone that AI can do a lot of stuff, ask them to look at this particular video and ask them to see whether they can create a prompt which is as detailed and as long as this. So I know I have architect friends who have been architect for last 5 to 6 years, and they take a lot of time to come up with this level of detail. It's not that simple, and there are lots of people involved, lots of team members like business analyst team, the product analyst team, the coding, the testing. The lots of teams have to come together and come up with this kinds of detail. It's not done by a single person. Again, this should give you the information that what goes on at the back end of software development or coding development. The reason why I'm again sharing these details is that people have a different kind of a notion when it comes to large language model, that they think that it can do everything. It can, by looking at the various content that is out there in the blogs and out there in the YouTube, but it's not the case. As I was explaining, that because of pure random conditions, the model can give you the output that works, and because of the same random conditions, the model can give output that is not working. So it is not something that is repeatable. Slowly and steadily the models are becoming better. If you are going to give the model, just give me a moment. So here is an example where I have already created a code in Python, and I am asking in this to this particular model that tell me what is wrong in this below code. Okay, and I am giving the complete code to it, and ChatGPT reviews the code and it comes up with the reason. So this particular return statement is wrong, it should not be here, okay, because it is in the for loop. So this is inside the for loop. So if I return in this for loop, it will come out in the first step itself. So ChatGPT is able to find it out that this particular return statement should not be inside the for loop, and it corrects the entire code and gives it to me. So there are possibilities. I'm not telling that it's the large language model is not good. What I'm trying to say here is that you have to know the limitations and the capabilities of the model, and for that limitation, to find out the limitation, you have to practice. You have to work with the various prompts, various kinds of problems, and you have to give the necessary details to the model for it to work. Then only it can give the output. So I believe that you like this content. Do leave a like and share it with others. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the prompts that is available inside the small AI.developer for you to get an understanding. Okay, but before I go there, I also want to show you the challenges that how VertexAI is doing. So the same problem I shared it with Bard as well as with ChatGPT. I'm using the same thing, but I have created this particular Jupyter notebook using VertexAI primitive in LangChain. So it is easier to access it. So that's why I've created it. And I have created the system messages and human messages. These are very similar to what the developers inside this particular code are asking to do. I reviewed the code, and then I have converted the code in such a way that it can be workable inside this particular environment. And then after that, I'm asking it to generate the file paths. So I want it to generate the file path. So you are an AI developer, and I am asking it to return the Python list of strings. Okay, and you see it's not returning the Python list of strings. It is giving me something totally different. Okay, and moreover I have let it to hallucinate also, so that it can come up with creative ideas. So if you see, I have taken the randomness as 0.7, so I have allowed it to deviate, but even then it is not able to come up with the Python list. So there itself I see there are certain limitations with the chat Bison model. In case of text Bison model, I cannot use this prompt because I have to give system as well as the user prompt. So there are two different prompts. So I have to use only chat Bison model as per the as per this particular repo that has been followed. I have to use that only. So based on these conditions, I have tried it, and VertexAI as well as Bard is having its own challenges. Bard was able to give the output, so you can actually correct it if you are capable of learning, running the code and testing it out and getting the errors, and then you can work on it. In case of VertexAI, you saw the challenges already. In case of Bard, in case of ChatGPT, yes, the output is coming, but it can be improved by giving the details. So you can see that in case of this particular repo, there are three prompts. So first is the file path generation prompt. So you see that it is available here. So this is the file path generation prompt, and then there is the entire code generation prompt. This is the code generation prompt which is used, and then we have the actual model that is getting created. So generate response will take these prompts here, and where it is, so here, yeah, in this location it is actually converted into system prompt and user prompt. So these are the three prompts, and this three prompt only works again and again to get the output that you want. So how it is being done, if you go down, you will see that this particular if else loop starts, and we can actually prompt the model again and again and wait till the final output that you want is achieved. So the readme also tells the same thing, that the main.py generates the code, human reads it, and human can start working on it by running the code, checking the code, and if there is any error is coming, it can be entered back into the prompt, and it can be used to inform the model for correcting the code. Also the debugger.py, if you go to the debugger.py, again there's a different prompt there that you can use to prompt the model. So you can see that there are a couple of additional functions here. The additional functions in main_nodal.py is writing the files. So if you go down here, there is a wait a minute, sorry. If you go down here, there is a function that can write the file. So this function can write the file. So the data that is taken from this generation, the generate response can be written to the file. And in the main prompt, you can see that it can look at the file paths, and it can start working on generating the dependencies, and it can work on generating the code and writing the file. So you see this happens in this location. And if you want to clean the directory, then you can call the clean directory function. So this is what is happening. So it's a straightforward Python code, Python script. It's very simple to understand once you because here the main thing is the prompt. So the prompt that is used for instructing the model is large. So that's why the code looks a little longer. So here also you can see. And the next thing that you have to observe is the details to which the initial application prompt has been created. And in order to run this program, it is very simple. So let me go to the terminal just a minute. I have already cloned this particular repo here. And if you just say Python main, okay, no nodal.py, and if I just run it, so if I don't give any kind of arguments, and if I just run it, by default this particular code, this particular script will take the prompt.md and start working. So this is all inside this particular prompt.md file, and it will start executing the code. Here in this case, it did not execute because I did not give the OpenAI API keys, or I did not set up any of the necessary environment, so it did not do it. But I wanted you guys to know what is going on here. And here in this place, so for an example, here if you give a prompt that you want, if you have an application, so for an example, if I give this particular prompt like this, and if I execute it, so it will start executing again. So you see this particular prompt is also executing, and then it will start the process of creating the code. So the here what I want to insist is the same thing, that you have to understand how problem solving and coding works, and then using artificial intelligence models like the ChatGPT or Bard, or even the GPT 3.5, GPT-4 to generate code can be possible. But if you are new to creating code, or if you are new to writing programming, it is going to be a challenge. Okay, so the reason why I'm making this particular video is that my audience, that is you, can be either a seasoned programmer, or you can be someone who is coming from business background, who is coming from the program or project management background, thinking that you can use this technology for developing your own applications. Yes, it is possible for you to learn and develop it. However, you have to start practicing to at least solve problems using coding, and then you can use these technologies to develop your own applications. And yet you have to be comfortable in taking the code and executing it. Like as I was showing in 2-3 minutes back, that you take a particular repo, clone it, and start executing their scripts and get output, and understand why that output is coming. So that level of comfort with the scripting is required. Then it will be easier for you to work with these kinds of these kinds of repo, where you can use it to develop your own applications by using large language models. If not, nothing has gone bad. All you need to do is start learning about a couple of ideas about solving problem. Learn the easiest language that like Python or JavaScript. None of the languages are difficult. Okay, the reason why I'm telling is I myself have learned a couple of new languages, couple of new frameworks, and I keep on presenting that to you guys. All it takes is to understand what problem is getting solved, and then to understand how the problem is getting solved. This is a very basic thing that I follow always. So if you follow the same thing, I'm pretty sure you will come up to speed in any of the programming languages, not just Python or JavaScript. It could be a little bit difficult. It will take a lot of practice. It will take a lot of typing, but you can actually do it. So there is nothing stopping you. With that said, I would like to come to a close of this particular discussion. And here I want you guys to understand that I have shown the limitations. Okay, I have shown that what is not possible, while others have shown what is possible, what is happening out there, how people are making money, and how people are enjoying their life. But no, actually what you are seeing out there is only the probability, the random the pure random conditions that has helped them to run the code. But in reality, they have done a lot of work at the back end. So keep that in mind. Like, I'm showing the actual work that needs to be done. And I hope that you like this. I believe that you like this content. Do leave a like and leave a comment, because once you comment and give me feedback about my content, I can improve it, and I can also learn a lot more from you guys, and also from this ecosystem and internet. Do subscribe to my channel for further updates on not just large language models and open source models. I also cover various libraries around Python ecosystem. So you can learn one or two things from me. With that said, I would like to end this video with 4 words, that is explore, 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 explore. With that said, see you guys. Have a great time.